Broken legs, broken pride rain fell hard on the metal streets of the lower district. The lights above flickered weakly, barely enough to see through the fog and steam rising from broken vents. Corey, an alien girl with silver blue skin and glowing white eyes, limped through the alley. Her mechanical legs sparked with every step. The implants were damaged again. She gritted her teeth and pulled her hood lower. She didn't want anyone to see her like this. Once she had lived in tall towers, above the clouds. She had servants, fine robes, and everything a highborn deserved. Now she had broken legs, no credits, and no one who cared. With a hiss, her left leg joint locked up. Corey stumbled forward, fell to one knee, then collapsed completely. The ground was cold and wet. Sparks jumped from the implant as it tried to reset. She slammed her fist on the metal. "Move, you stupid thing!" she cried. Nothing happened. Her pride burned more than her pain. She looked around, hoping no one had seen her fall. But someone had. A shadow moved nearby. She turned quickly, hand reaching for a small blade hidden in her coat. The figure stepped closer. A human, tall, wearing a dusty jacket and heavy boots. His face was tired, with a short beard and messy dark hair. He looked down at her. "I can fix that," he said simply. Corey glared at him. "Get lost, human." He didn't move. "You'll freeze out here. And your legs won't hold much longer." "I don't need your help," she hissed, trying to stand. But her legs refused to move. The implant sparked again, then shut off completely. She fell back, unable to hide the pain this time. The man crouched beside her. "Look, I'm not here to rob you. I fix machines. I fix implants. For free, if I have to." "For free?" She laughed bitterly. "No one does anything for free. What do you really want?" He looked her in the eyes. "Just helping, nothing more." Corey narrowed her gaze. She didn't trust him. But the cold was sinking into her bones, and her legs were dead metal now. If she stayed, she'd freeze. If she crawled, she might be caught by patrols or worse. "Fine," she muttered. "But if you touch anything else, I'll cut your throat." He smiled slightly. "Fair enough." Corey awoke to warm light and the smell of oil. Her legs were locked in place, resting on a workbench. She tried to move but couldn't. Panic shot through her chest. "What have you done to me?" The human turned from a nearby table, holding a tool in one hand and a small screen in the other. "Relax, I just clamped your leg so I could start the repairs." "You were twitching too much in your sleep," Corey growled. "Let me go." He raised an eyebrow. "You want to walk again, right?" She paused. "Yes, then let me finish." He turned back to the bench and gently opened one of her leg panels. Sparks jumped out again. He didn't flinch. "These are old models, military grade, high security too. Who gave you these?" Corey looked away. "None of your business." "Fine," he said. "Name's Jack, by the way." "I didn't ask," she snapped. Jack shrugged. "Suit yourself." He worked quietly after that, using strange human tools and devices she didn't recognize. Corey watched him. His hands were rough, but steady. He didn't act like other humans she'd seen. No greed, no fear. Just quiet focus. After a while, he spoke again. "These implants, they've been tampered with." Corey's eyes narrowed. "What do you mean?" "There's code here extra. Layers that don't belong, not just for movement. Looks like tracking signals, maybe control functions." Her heart skipped. "That's not possible. You didn't know?" Jack asked. She shook her head slowly. "They were installed when I was young. A gift from my family." "Some gift," he muttered. Corey went silent. Her chest felt tight. If what he said was true, then someone had been watching her all these years. Maybe still watching. "You can remove it?" she asked quietly. Jack looked at her. "I can try, but it's deep. Whoever put it in didn't want it taken out." Corey looked away, her voice soft. "Do what you can," he nodded. "I will. But it might draw attention." "I've been running all my life," she said. "What's one more risk?" Outside, something beeped in the darkness. Far away, a signal pulsed. Her implant system had gone quiet. Someone noticed Dot, but inside the workshop, the human worked quietly, unaware that trouble was already on the way. A human tinkerer, the workshop was quiet, except for the soft buzz of tools and the ticking sound of an old wall fan. Corey sat up slowly on the bench. Her legs still didn't move, but the pain was gone. For the first time in weeks, she felt. No fire in her joints, no sharp metal grinding against bone. Across the room, Jack worked on a broken drone, humming some old Earth song to himself. His hands moved fast, fixing wires, adjusting circuits. The workshop smelled of oil, copper, and something sweet, burnt sugar maybe. Old posters of human machines were stuck on the walls. One showed a giant robot holding a child. Another was a smiling man with the words, "Fix it right, fix it human." Corey didn't understand this human. "You're not charging me," she said finally. "Why?" Jack didn't look up. "Told you already. I don't take credits from the desperate." "Then why do it at all?" He paused, then placed the drone aside. He turned toward her, wiping his hands with a cloth. "Because once someone fixed me for free. I was a soldier. Got blown up. My arm was gone, my chest full of shrapnel. I thought I'd die. Then a stranger, an alien like you, stitched me back together. Didn't ask for anything. Just said, 'Pass it on.'" Corey looked at him quietly. "You don't owe me anything," he said. "I'm just passing it on." She didn't speak. She didn't know what to say. For so long, everyone who helped her wanted something in return. Favors, secrets, loyalty. But this man, this human, asked for nothing. "What happens now?" She asked. "Now," he said, "I fix the deeper damage." Jack walked over and tapped a small screen beside her leg. It showed a map of her implant system with red blinking signals. "This," he pointed, "is the main control module. It's sending out weak signals. I already shut some of it down, but we need to dig deeper if you want freedom." "Freedom," Corey repeated. "That's what this is about?" "You said your family gave you these," Jack said. "Maybe they did it to help. Or maybe they did it to control you." Corey looked down at her legs. The metal was smooth, polished now, no rust, no sparks. But inside, it was still a prison. "I don't trust easy," she said. Jack nodded. "That makes two of us." He pulled a strange tool from his belt. It buzzed with a soft blue light. "This might hurt," he warned. "I have to go inside the nervous relay. It'll feel like lightning in your bones." Corey gave him a short smirk. "I've been electrocuted before. Do your worst." He chuckled. "Tough girl." She closed her eyes. "Just fix me, human." The next hour was a blur of pain and pressure. Jack worked with steady hands, whispering updates as he moved through wires and code. Corey clenched her fists, her jaw tight. At one point, her entire body jumped from the bench. Her eyes went wide as memories flooded back, flashes of her old life. Her brother laughing, her mother shouting. A wedding hall filled with strangers, Dot, and then the sound of her father's voice. "This is for your own good." Suddenly, the signal went silent. Carrie gasped as if waking from a nightmare. The pain was gone. Her body felt light, strange, but lighter. "It's done," Jack said, stepping back. His forehead was covered in sweat. She moved her legs. First her toes, then the knees. Everything responded like it used to. No delay, no pain, no buzzing. She stood and didn't fall. A small laugh escaped her lips. It had been months since she could stand without shaking. Jack smiled from his chair. "You're walking better than me already." Corey looked at him. There was no pride in his voice, just quiet happiness. "I didn't thank you," she said. "You just did," he replied. Suddenly, A sharp beep echoed from a nearby device. Jack turned quickly and checked the screen. His smile vanished. "What is it?" Corey asked. He frowned. "Someone pinned the old signal before I shut it down. That means they know you're here." Her blood turned cold. "Could be bounty. Hunters, could be worse." She stepped back. "I have to go. I won't put you in danger." Jack stood and grabbed a small tool pouch. "If they're coming, then it's too late to run. You need help, and I don't abandon patients." Corey stared at him. "Why risk your life for me?" He looked her dead in the eyes. "Because it's the right thing to do. That's enough, isn't it?" She didn't answer, but her eyes softened. That night, Corey didn't sleep. She sat near the window, staring into the rain. Somewhere in the darkness, ships moved in the sky. Not patrols, too silent. "Too fast." She whispered to herself. "They're coming." But this time, she wasn't alone. The code beneath the metal, the rain had stopped, but the air was still heavy. Jack sat at his workbench, his eyes locked on a glowing screen filled with alien symbols. Lines of code moved like snakes. At first glance, it looked like implant firmware, but there was something else. Something hidden. Corey stood behind him, arms crossed. Her legs worked perfectly now, but her mind was racing. "You said something was buried in the code?" she asked. Jack nodded without looking at her. "Yes, deep inside the system. It's not just movement control, it's surveillance." Corey frowned. "You already removed the tracker." "I did. But this is worse. It's personality shaping. Memory tampering, emotional dampeners." He tapped one symbol. "Look here. This command forces the subject to obey certain voices, likely your family's." Her jaw clenched. "Are you saying they programmed me?" Jack finally looked at her. "Yes, since you were a child." Corey's chest felt tight. She turned away, staring at the metal wall. Her whole life, she thought she was making her own choices, running away, refusing marriage, escaping to this dust hole of a colony. But what if even those choices weren't truly hers? "I need to know everything," she said. Jack nodded. "Then sit. This could take a while." For the next 2 hours, Jack explained the architecture of the implants. How they weren't designed just for mobility, but were custom-made with psychological dampeners. Commands could be sent from afar. Emotional highs like anger or joy could be reduced. Fear could be increased. Loyalty could be redirected. "I'm sorry," Jack said. "It's not just tech, it's control." Corey closed her eyes. Images from her past flashed again. How cold she felt every time she spoke against her father. How she used to tremble around her older brother, even when he never threatened her. How she cried without knowing why the night she ran. "Did I ever make a real choice?" She whispered. "You're making one now," Jack said gently. She opened her eyes. He wasn't judging her, just being there. "Can you take it out?" she asked. Jack looked hesitant. "I can shut down most of it, maybe all. But removing the entire personality network, that's deep work, risky. You could lose memories or parts of yourself." Corey's fists tightened. "If I don't remove it, I'm not me anyway." Jack nodded slowly. "Okay, then we go deep." He laid her back down, and this time she didn't flinch. She stared at the ceiling while the buzz of tools began again. She felt warmth near her spine, then a strange cold that traveled up her back to her head. Her vision blurred. Her thoughts scattered. And then a voice echoed in her mind. "Daughter, do not resist." Corey gasped. Her father's voice. Not a memory, live, real, coming through the implant. Jack cursed under his breath. "They're trying to access the control network." "I hear him," she shouted. "He's talking to me." "Block him. Fight it." Her body shook. Her fingers curled uncontrollably. Her legs tried to stand on their own. Jack slammed the override. Sparks flew from her spine. Corey screamed, but through the pain, she saw something. No. Someone. A younger version of herself, sitting in a chair, smiling, obeying. No. She shouted. Her hand punched the side of the workbench, knocking over tools. Her body thrashed, but then still. And suddenly, the voice was gone. Silence. Jack stared at her, wide-eyed. Corey. She opened her eyes slowly. Are you okay? He asked. She looked at him, blinking, then smiled faintly. I don't hear him anymore. Jack sighed in relief. You broke the link. You fought it off. I'm still me, she said softly. Finally, Jack helped her sit up. You should rest. No, she said. We don't have time. If they sent a live message, they're close. As if on cue, the scanner on Jack's desk lit up. 3 red dots moved across the map. Inbound ships, he said. Small team, probably enforcers. Corey stood up on her own. Then we prepare. Jack raised an eyebrow. You sure you're ready for this? She looked at her hands, at her strong, steady legs. I was never ready before. That's why they controlled me. Now I am. Jack handed her a small energy blade. This isn't much. Corey held it like an old friend. It's enough, Jack smiled. Let's show them what a free mind can do. Outside, in the shadows above the colony, 3 ships landed without lights, silent, hidden, but the girl they came to reclaim wasn't theirs anymore. The ghosts of her past. They came quietly. No sound. No warning. 3 sleek black ships landed on the rooftops of the abandoned factories near Jack's workshop. Their hulls shimmered with cloaking plates, and their engines gave off no heat. These weren't bounty hunters. These were retrievers, elite enforcers used by noble alien houses. And they were here for one person. Single quotes RI. Inside the workshop, the lights flickered. Jack stared at the scanner screen. 3 heat signatures. No chatter. That's bad. Corey stood still, staring at the map. Her breathing was slow and deep. The human had patched up her mind and removed the code, but her past was now catching up with her. They won't ask questions, she said. They'll take me down, dead or alive. Jack loaded a tool that looked like a blaster but hummed like a power drill. Then we make sure it's not easy for them. Corey looked around the shop. You have traps? Jack smiled. I'm human. Of course I have traps. 5 minutes later, the workshop looked empty. The lights were off. The doors were locked. Only silence and shadows remained. But behind the walls, wires were primed. Floor tiles were rigged. Sparks were ready to fly. Corey hid behind the old engine lift, gripping the energy blade tightly. Her implants were silently working better than ever. Jack crouched beside her, holding a remote detonator in one hand and a wrench in the other. Then, the sound came, a soft click, like metal boots touching ground. Another, then another. Corey whispered, They're inside. Jack didn't answer. He held his breath. The first enforcer stepped into the center of the room. A tall, thin figure wearing a black helmet with red glowing eyes. It scanned the room silently. Suddenly, its foot clicked on the trap plate. Boom. A burst of electric light shot upward, wrapping around the figure. Sparks danced across its armor. The second enforcer leaped through the smoke, rolling into cover. Jack hit another button. A pipe dropped from the ceiling and knocked the second enforcer flat. Corey sprang forward, using her leg implants to launch herself through the air. Her blade struck. The third enforcer blocked her with a metal staff, but she twisted midair and landed behind him. Her blade sliced his shoulder. He staggered. She didn't stop. Corey fought like a storm. Her movements were sharp, fast, and wild, powered by freedom, not fear. Jack moved around the edge of the room, using tools like weapons shooting sparks, throwing heat flares, even launching bolts from his homemade launcher. But the enforcers were well trained. One of them managed to slam Corey into the wall. Her breath knocked out. The third one raised its weapon, aiming at her chest. "Nitrogen monoxide!" Jack shouted. He threw a magnetic wrench. It hit the enforcer's head with a loud crack, making it stumble. Corey got up, grabbed her blade, and slashed the enforcer's wrist. Sparks flew. The weapon dropped. With a cry of rage, Corey plunged the blade into the control core on its chest. The enforcer froze and fell. Silence filled the room once more. 2 enforcers lay motionless. The third crawled toward the exit, Sparks. Falling from its damaged helmet, Carrie walked up to it. The enforcer turned, its voice broken and robotic. "She belongs to House Virellin." Corey raised her foot and crushed the helmet. "I belong to no one," she whispered. After the fight, Jack leaned against the wall, breathing hard. His shirt was torn, and there was a cut on his cheek. Carrie walked over. "You okay?" He nodded. "Been worse." She looked at the mess. Burned walls, broken glass, fried machines. The workshop was ruined. "I'm sorry," she said. "I brought this here." Jack wiped blood from his lip. "I knew the risks. I'd do it again." Corey sat down beside him. "They won't stop. My family, they won't forgive this." "More will come." Jack smiled tiredly. "Then we build better traps." Corey chuckled. "And stronger blades." They sat there, quiet, side-by-side survivors of different worlds. Now part of the same war. But something inside Corey had changed. This time she didn't feel like running. She didn't feel broken. She felt alive. And free. Outside the ruined workshop, the city lights returned, flickering weakly in the distance. The rain had stopped completely now. In the sky above, the black ships rose again. But this time, empty. Back at House Virellin, deep in space, a figure stood before a large screen. A woman's voice echoed through the dark chamber. "So the human interferes." She turned to her guards. "Send the Black Talon. I want my daughter alive." Tools and traps. The workshop smelled like smoke and victory. Broken metal pieces were scattered across the floor. A small fire burned in a trash bin near the wall. Jack and Corey stood quietly, looking at the damage. The fight was over, but only for now. Corey's breathing was steady. Her muscles ached, and a small cut above her eyebrow was still bleeding, but she stood tall. She had won her first fight as a free woman. Jack tossed a busted drone onto the table. "We held them off, but next time, they'll send something bigger." Corey nodded. "They already are. I know my family. House Virellin will not stop now. They'll send the Black Talon next." Jack raised an eyebrow. "That sounds bad." "It is," Corey said. "The Black Talon is not just a soldier. He's an executioner. Once they send him, they don't expect you to return." Jack didn't flinch. Instead, he picked up a welding tool and snapped on his goggles. "Then it's time to get creative." For the next few hours, the workshop came back to life. Jack turned into a whirlwind, cutting, welding, programming. Sparks flew. He dragged old junk from hidden compartments, pieces he had stored for just in case. Now, just in case had arrived. Corey worked beside him. She wasn't an engineer, but she was fast, and she had memory from her education as a noble. Together, they built more than just traps. They built a fortress. Jack designed magnetic floor tiles that could freeze boots in place. Reconnected plasma wiring to the ceiling beams, touch them, and they'd fry. Together, they wired dummy cameras to lure intruders while the real ones watched from hidden spots. They even converted an old mining robot into a surprise battering ram, powered by a short-range motion detector. Jack grinned. "You know, this reminds me of old Earth War movies." Corey smiled faintly. "Does Earth always solve problems with fire and wires?" "Most of the time." Just before nightfall, a warning light on Jack's scanner lit up bright red. A new signal had entered the city. Unlike the last attackers, this one didn't come in silent. The entire colony shook as a black drop pod smashed into an empty square just 2 streets away. Its sides hissed open, steam pouring into the air. A tall figure stepped out, all black armor, razor-sharp edges. A helmet shaped like a bird's skull. Two red eyes glowed like burning coals. Corey stared at the screen. Black Talon. Jack looked at her. Ready? She nodded. Let's finish what we started. Night fell hard. The city around them was silent. People had gone into hiding. They felt the storm coming, even if they didn't know its name. Inside the workshop, everything was set. Lights dimmed, panels sealed. Jack and Corey took positions. Jack stayed near the control table. Corey crouched in the shadows of the repair lift. Then the door exploded. The Black Talon walked in through the fire like a machine of death. He didn't speak. Didn't hesitate. Jack pressed the first trigger. A floor tile lit up under the Talon's foot. Magnetic lock activated. His boot froze for 2 seconds. Corey launched from the shadows, her blade swinging. Clang. The blade bounced off his armor like it hit stone. He turned sharply and slammed her into the wall. Sparks flew. Jack pressed another button. A ceiling panel dropped, spilling plasma wires. The Talon raised his arm, firing a shockwave that blew them apart. Corey stood up, panting. He's stronger than I remember. Jack grabbed his launcher. Then we hit harder. The Talon charged. Jack fired a net lined with stun pulses. It wrapped around the Talon's legs, shocking him. He stumbled but didn't fall. Corey used the moment. She jumped, flipped, and struck the joint behind his knee. This time, the armor cracked. The Talon growled. Keep hitting the weak spots. Jack yelled. The Talon threw a spinning disc at Corey. She ducked, but it grazed her shoulder, tearing her coat. She gritted her teeth and threw a blade straight into his side. The blade stuck. He stumbled. Jack pressed one final trigger. The mining robot, silent until now, rolled out of the wall like a charging bull. Its metal arm swung wide. Bam! It smashed into the Talon, sending him flying through a support beam. The wall collapsed over him. Dust filled the room. Silence. Corey coughed, trying to see through the thick air. Did it work? Jack moved slowly toward the pile of rubble. A loud metallic clang answered. The Black Talon rose again. Half his armor was broken. One eye was dark. But he was still standing. He pointed a shaking finger at Corey. His voice was low, distorted. You are property of House Virellin. Corey stepped forward, face calm. Not anymore. She ran straight at him. He raised his arm, but she jumped, flipped over his strike, landed behind him, and drove her blade deep into the core at his back. Zap! Energy burst from the wound. The Black Talon screamed and exploded into sparks and smoke. He collapsed. This time for good. Corey stood over him, breathing hard. Jack walked up beside her, limping slightly. Not bad for a first mission together, he said. Corey looked at the wreckage. He was the best they had. Jack nodded. Then they're out of luck. She smiled. I hope so. But deep inside, she knew the war wasn't over. Yet this time, she had a partner, and she was no longer running. The last spark of freedom smoke still drifted through the ruined workshop. The Black Talon lay in pieces on the floor, his armor cracked open, wires sparking, his red eyes dim. Corey stood over him, her chest rising and falling with every heavy breath. Her arms shook, her legs ached. But she was still standing. And most importantly, she was still free. Jack sat on a broken crate, holding his side. His shirt was stained with blood. A sharp piece of metal had grazed his ribs during the fight. He winced as he laughed. That mining bot. Best 50 credits I ever spent. Corey chuckled softly, though her body was still alert. We won. For now, Jack muttered, pressing a cloth against his wound. Corey walked over and knelt beside him. Let me see. I'm fine. You're not. Stop acting tough. Jack gave her a tired smile. You've been hanging around humans too long. She tore a clean strip from her coat and pressed it gently over the wound. And you've been around aliens who know how to survive. They both laughed quietly, in pain, but alive. But far above the colony, deep in orbit, another ship hovered in silence. Inside, a woman dressed in silver robes stood before a wide screen. Her long fingers tapped on the glass. She watched the battle replay from a hidden drone's feed. Her face was calm, expression cold. This human. He's more dangerous than I thought, she said. Behind her stood 2 guards, silent, armed. Should we send another strike? One asked. The woman shook her head. No, she's already broken the talon. If we send more violence, she'll only run deeper. Then what do we do, Lady Varellin? She turned slowly. We change the game. We offer peace. The guard looked confused. Peace? With a chain hidden inside, she replied with a thin smile. Back on the ground, Jack lay on the workshop table while Corey connected the medical scanner. You're lucky, she said. The blade missed your lung by 2 centimeters. See, told you I was fine. She rolled her eyes. Stubborn human, he grinned. Free alien. They shared a moment of silence. Then Jack spoke more seriously. What will you do now? They won't stop completely. Corey stared at the wall. No, but I won't hide anymore. Then what? She looked at him. I'm going to help others like me, refugees, runaways, people with broken implants and broken lives. We fix them. Give them a chance. Jack raised an eyebrow. We? She smiled. I don't know tech, but I know someone who does. Jack leaned back, groaning. Guess I'm not retiring yet. Later that night, while Corey worked on clearing rubble, a soft ping came from Jack's comms device. He limped over, checked the screen, and froze. What is it? Corey asked. He showed her. A message. From Lady Varellin to Corey Varellin. Subject. Ceasefire. Kari's eyes narrowed. She never messages me directly. Jack opened it. The message was short. Corey, no more hunters, no more force. I only wish to speak with your new companion present. A peaceful meeting. 1 hour. Sector 9 Skybridge. Bring the human. Jack blinked. That's a trap. Corey nodded. Of course it is. But if she's calling for peace, she might be scared, Jack said. Or planning something worse. Corey stood quietly, thinking. I need to go, she said finally. Jack stood, holding his side. Then I'm going with you. You're injured. Doesn't matter. She asked for me. Corey looked at him, her face serious. You could die. Jack looked right back. So could you. They nodded. Decision made. The Sector 9 Skybridge was a tall, open structure high above the city. Cold wind blew across the metal beams. Rain. Clouds floated below. There were no guards. No ships. Just one figure waiting at the center. Lady Varellin. She stood in a silver gown, her hair blowing gently, her face still like stone. Corey and Jack approached slowly. Jack held a hand blaster just in case. Daughter, Lady Varellin said. I'm not your daughter anymore, Corey replied. The older woman smiled softly. You always had fire, even as a child. Why the meeting? Corey demanded. I watched everything. You fought well. You showed strength. It reminded me of your mother. Corey's voice was sharp. You watched me suffer. You installed code in my mind. You let them control me. I did what was necessary to protect you. Corey stepped forward. No, you did what was necessary to protect your name. Lady. Varellin's face hardened. I offer peace now. You can return. No implants, no commands, just family. Corey stared at her. I already have a family. She reached out and took Jack's hand. The lady's eyes narrowed. You would choose a broken human over your own blood? Jack stepped forward. You lost her the moment you made her a tool. Corey added, I don't want your throne. I want freedom for me and for others. Lady Varellin's voice turned cold. Then you will never have peace. Corey nodded. Then I will have war. Without another word, she turned and walked away. Jack beside her. Lady Varellin stood in silence as the wind blew around her. Her offer had failed. But the real war had just begun. Rebuilt, not owned, the sun finally broke through the clouds. It was a quiet morning in the lower districts of the colony. Smoke no longer rose from Jack's workshop. The shattered walls had been repaired. The broken roof was patched. Fresh light poured through the windows. Inside, Corey stood at the main table, her sleeves rolled up, her hands covered in oil. She was fixing an old implant, one similar to the one she used to wear. But this one was different. This one wasn't designed to control. It was designed to heal. Jack walked in, holding 2 steaming mugs of synth coffee. "You've been up since dawn," he said. Corey smiled softly. "Couldn't sleep. Too many names on the list." She handed him a datapad. On the screen were over 50 names: aliens, cyborgs, refugees, all of them injured. All of them forgotten. But not anymore. "I didn't think this would happen," Jack said as he handed her a mug. "What? That we'd become something like a team or a clinic?" Corey chuckled. "Neither did I." She sat beside him, sipping her drink. Her eyes wandered to the door where a sign now hung: Reclaimers. Free repairs. No chains attached. They had spread the message through the colony. Anyone with damaged implants, forced trackers, or enslaving tech could come to the Reclaimers for help. No cost, no questions. At first, only a few came, scared, silent. But then word spread. Young boy with a locked spine chip. An old miner with a mind control loop still active. A girl whose voice had been muted through a collar implanted in her throat. Corey and Jack fixed them all together. One evening, while Corey was checking supplies, a small knock came at the door. She opened it. A young alien girl stood there, no older than 12. Her arms were shaking. She looked terrified. I don't have money," the girl said. Carrie knelt. "You don't need any." "What's your name?" the girl whispered. "Nara." Corey smiled. "Come in, Nara. You're safe here." As Nara entered, Corey noticed the implant on the back of her neck. It was one of the early models used by slavers, banned across most of the galaxy. Corey's hand gently touched her own neck, the place where hers used to be. Jack walked in from the side room, holding his tools. "Let's get to work." Hours passed. The implant was difficult to remove. Nara cried once, but Kauri held her hand through it. Jack moved slowly, carefully, disabling the core before it could send a signal. At last, it popped free. Carrie crushed it under her boot. Nara sat up, blinking like someone seeing the world for the first time. Jack gave her a mirror. "You're free now." The girl looked at herself and smiled through tears. Corey whispered, "No one owns you anymore." Later, after Nara left with a volunteer, Jack and Corey sat in silence. Jack stared at the crushed implant. "You know, we've done more in 1 month than most leaders do in a lifetime." Corey didn't answer right away. She looked at the stars through the skylight. "And still, my mother watches from above, planning, waiting." Jack leaned back. "Let her watch. Let her see that we're not afraid." Corey nodded. "I'm not afraid of her anymore. I'm not even angry." Jack looked surprised. "Really? She wanted to control me. But in trying, she taught me what freedom means. And now I'll give that to others." 1 week later, a small package arrived. No name, no sender. Inside, a broken piece of the Black Talon's helmet and a handwritten note. "You are stronger than I feared. I will not come for you again, but others will be ready." Varellin. Jack read it, then burned the note. Corey kept the helmet fragment. Not as a warning, but as a reminder. Months passed. The Reclaimers grew. Other humans and aliens joined. Engineers, medics, even former enforcers. Corey trained young volunteers. Jack built better tools. They opened new workshops across the district. One day, while working on a new tool design, Jack handed Corey a small object. It was a badge, metal, simple, shaped like a broken chain. She raised an eyebrow. "What's this?" "Your new rank," Jack said with a grin. "Leader of the free." Corey smiled and pinned it to her coat. She turned to the line of people waiting outside. And opened the doors wide. She had been rebuilt, but not to be owned. She had chosen her path, and now others would walk it too. The end.